Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my weekly review of The Walking Dead. So tonight we break down just what it means to be isolated. So spoiler alert before we go forward, as I will be bearing all in this review, so just take care and step forward with caution. So getting into this business, okay, am I the only one who has been overwhelmingly stressed, like, just in my ordinary day-to-day life because of this show and where everything is going right now? Because my nerves are slightly frayed. I've been, like, dreaming almost every single night since last Sunday about something to do with The Walking Dead, ranging from nightmares to kind of, you know, the sort of cool dystopian craziness. It's just the intrigue of this season and the intensity of everything, like I said last week in my review, has just been, you know, I am nailed to the dartboard here. Like, there is no escaping the stress that I am experiencing over this, you know, apocalypse within apocalypse, you know? This whole flu situation is kind of, you know, it is the insult to the ultimate injury. You know, little nice squeeze of fresh lemon juice on the gaping cuts that is an already pretty decimated society. I mean, it's kind of like we're playing a game of limbo here. It's like, how low can you go? Like, just how terrible can things get before everything combusts and viewers like myself snap and just descend through the floorboards and into, you know, the bowels of existence, okay? And that is what I ask myself, because this has just been off the charts stressful. Now, we're getting to a point, what's really interesting about this season is that I feel like the whole story, the whole picture, we are just at the tip of the iceberg. Even with this crazy plague ordeal that is so wildly pervasive and just getting everybody under its wing, you know, because there's still the question of the governor and some things that have been hinted at, you know, between like Michonne and Daryl and, you know, things to come. Still trying to figure out what are the other outside forces beyond the plague, beyond the walkers that are, you know, throwing their bodies up against the fence. Like, there's got to be something more beyond that that is really at work here and just kind of moving the mechanism of this pretty wrecked up society. So I was hoping that we were going to be able to get some sense of resolve about the plague in this episode, but I mean, these things take time, you know, even magic, you know, it's gotta work on a schedule. Freaking Herschel, may we take this moment to bow down to this man, because he knows what's up. He is clearly the freaking hero of the day, and I have words for you, sir, and your beard, and the essence of your soul, and all of them are pretty dang good, so you don't need to worry about no thing. And his epic, you know, speech about, he kind of did this whole, like, with great power comes great responsibility speech, and, you know, we see him slinking out of the prison, and he's going to get everybody hooked up with the green goods, you know, just like it's like you had to wonder for a split second, it's like, is he gonna go, you know, like get some weed just so everybody can smoke and just have a relaxing, you know, descent into death, misery, or I mean, he's a good dude. He is absolutely solid. I have pretty much never had a problem with him, and I certainly have no problem with him right now as far as what he is contributing to the group, and it is so good to see some sense of movement and to see something practical applied to this situation that is just so maddeningly just yuck. I mean, every corner, everybody's coughing, everybody's hacking. I mean, it makes me think of that a Teen America song. It's the AIDS song. That's kind of what I was thinking of, you know. It's like the AIDS, like, just everywhere you look, everyone is just coming down with the sickness. And that is stressful. That is stressful. Like, that's the part that, like, that's what I've been dreaming about so much this week, is like everyone just getting sick and dropping like flies and just the madness. It's a whole different Like, I applaud the writers. I don't know what ties this has to the comic literature, but this be some stress for my soul, okay? So let's break down some characters. We got to see Tyrese going in his berserker fury, kind of Wolverine from the X-Men status, you know, when he is just like wall to wall. I don't hear nothing but walkers calling, you know. If Chris Brown was to be composing during this period, that was fairly epic. I had the overwhelming sense that he was, in fact, going to come back from it, and he very much did. So we get to see, you know, a very volatile side of him. And I like the balance of the drama and the violence and action and everything that happened in this episode. There, you know, everything from the meaningful moments to the gut-wrenching to the, you know, like, gut spilling. It's just, I enjoy these episodes, which to me this one felt pretty well balanced. I mean, I'm just stressed out most of the time, so you know, it's like, to say that something is overwhelming, it's like I have to kind of be I have to be sort of objective about it, because I know that for me, I invest to a very unhealthy extreme in things. But yeah, so Tyrese is an incredibly poignant situation, of course. And then it was, you know, I actually did have the Carol's situation. I did have it spoiled for me. I turned on the TV like a minute too soon because I didn't get to watch the episode live. And so it was the last minute of, you know, they're re-showing the episode before they showed freaking Comic Book Men, and then they showed the episode again, which I got to watch. But I saw that very last discussion held between them, and I was just like, well, it certainly made the episode very enlightening as I watched, and just kind of reading Carol's body language and the way that she acts around, you know, everyone who's sick, around Tyrese, and her little water fits, and just all the things that she's doing in this episode that were just so irksome, and like, woman, what is going on with you? Guilt is a little bug which will nip onto you and lead you to slip up quite a bit. So I could, you know, read her very clearly throughout pretty much the entire episode, being that I kind of knew that she was, you know, playing the arson here. And so the question is, what's going to be done about this in particular? Because, you know, we see that Rick is coming from a place of like, we've got to hold our own here, you know, we want to, Tyrese is the one who's about doing what's right. He's, you know, that moral long arm of the law in a place that to him feels very lawless, and understandably so, you know, for somebody to just kind of be able to, you know, go in and creatively problem solve in a way that involves fire and people, and, you know, put 2 and 2 together, and you get some crispy human bacon. And, I don't think making bacon is exactly what he's, you know, out to do here. He is a vegetarian, if you will. So I was very surprised that it was, in fact, Carol, because I had guessed that it was that Bob fellow who wasn't nearly as loathsome this week. I was okay with him, you know, he was just sort of there and in the zone. He's got a gun, he's screaming, running around, doing his thing. We don't really see too much more into him at this point in time. But yeah, you know, Carol did come as a surprise to me, but we've seen her character developed a lot already this season in terms of, you know, the way that she's trying to equip the group to survive, and she is, so I think that a lot of her decisions in the season did lead up to this, in fact. And I have a sense that Rick is probably going to keep this dirty little secret between them, especially as they deal with the situation of trying to get the meds in time, okay? So, you know, we're going out and doing a good old-fashioned raid and having a gay old time out in the forest, partying with the forest dwellers. And so there's, as stressed as I was at the beginning of the episode, I have this sort of sense of hope. There's a sort of light at the end of the tunnel, you know, for which we can thank Herschel for giving us a little bit of that. I have really, like I said, I've really been enjoying the crap out of him. And, you know, we see little exchanges with Carl and his papa, and just kind of, you know, sort of power struggle that's at play between them. There's this sort of, you know, there's this sort of gun lust on the part of Carl, which I think, you know, our dear Nicolas Cage seems to read pretty well. And you know, it's interesting, of course, he accompanies Papa Herschel out into the woods for their little run. And it reminds us of times past where certain arguably atrocities ensued before. So, you know, that power struggle continues. We see Carl trying to kind of emerge as a leader and different people taking different roles. And it's all about kind of this allocation of power, sort of like what Bethany keeps harping on, and sort of for her own well-being. I've enjoyed the way that Beth's character has been developed as well, because, you know, back in season 2, I could not stand her. And so I think that she has grown considerably, and I appreciate seeing a character emerge like that, because, you know, there are some other shows that I've been watching recently where there's a sort of emergent character that I really can't get into, you know, despite kind of the position that they're coming into. So, yeah, there's just a lot, and I just enjoy that all the different characters have been touched on. I really want to see Maggie getting back in action more, but she's sort of, you know, paralyzed with her other half, you know, being on the cusp of reaching the other side, if we were to use some fun little death euphemisms. But, yeah. So it's like, I'd really like to see her getting back into the fray, but it's all about everyone's trying to find their place. And every time that they stand and they plant their feet and, you know, they wiggle their bare toes in the carpet of it, the rug gets ripped right out from under them, and there is an open manhole below. You know, it's just like, it's trying to see everyone, you know, everyone is trying to find their peace. I mean, as much as ever. And I love the crap out of Herschel's speech about, you know, them being able to choose, like, this whole plague thing is something that they can exercise some choice in, and he exposes the fact that there are ways to go about taking out the elephant, you know, which I appreciate. Maybe my nightmares will change course, and I will, you know, assume a position of power in my dreams at night, because lately everyone's just, like, dying, and I wake up with this crippling sense of, like, you know, every morning I wake up, I'm, like, doing this body count in my head. That's just absurd to me. That is just absurd. I've gotten, like, so stressed out with the show that, like, in the scene where Rick is kind of analyzing, you know, the scene where the burned bodies got dragged out and all of that, or where they got burned, etc. And I was, like, because it was quiet, I was sort of filling that in with, like, my own, you know, externalizing Rick's thoughts. And I love Rick. I do like him as a character, but I like to make fun of him too. You know, to me, he's Ranger Rick, he's Nicolas Cage, he's, you know, he's my buddy, but I like to pick on him for whatever reason, especially when I'm feeling stressed out and I need to laugh at the show, because I'm, you know, it's that nervous laughter kind of thing, except I'm trying to get it from somewhere genuine. So, what do you guys think as far as, you know, the pacing of the season and when we're going to start seeing the other stories emerge, which we know are going to come? And, yeah, I mean, I'm excited to kind of see how the governor is going to get threaded into all of this, and if they will, in fact, be able to starve out the plague and kind of get everybody back up on their feet, because I know that I will be a sorry heap of something by the time this is done if this is not, you know, in the past. I think that it's presented an incredibly crippling barrier, and it has just been, like, devastating to watch. And I'm just, like, every time the camera zooms in on someone, I'm just ready to, like, throw down. It's like, AIDS, 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 AIDS. Like, that's just kind of how my brain is working. It's like the camera lingers too long on one character, they're gonna cough, it's all over. You know, I used to raise rabbits back in the day when I was a farmer, and pretty much, you know, with rabbits, they get the sniffles and they're done for, and that's just kind of how their bodily systems work. And we had that happen with a few of our rabbits, and it's kind of, you know, it's like watching the same situation unfold. It's just really, really nuts to me. So you know, how do you guys feel about where all the different characters are standing, interactions, you know, are we gonna see any alliances and disputes come about? What do we think about Carol's fate? Is that even really in the question? Or is the secret going to be able to be sat upon? You know, are we going to be able to contain this? What role is Rick going to take in this process? I'm trying to think, you know, if there's anything else I've forgotten, but like I said, I think that this episode really covered the emotional spectrum of things really freaking well. I mean, as much as I am in a state of like emotional disrepair over everything, and my mind just cannot unhinge itself from the madness, like, this is good. And I mean, it just goes to show that this episode, or, you know, this season as a whole, really has a lot to offer. And, you know, who's afraid of the big bad wolf? I don't know, I kind of am. So take care, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If there's anything else that I forgot to address, you know, just leave it below. We will chat, and I will check comments as soon as I am physically able to. And I might try to do some kind of Halloween video of sorts. I do have a costume that I'm putting together, and I'll post about that on, you know, follow me on Twitter and Tumblr and Facebook. I've been a little bit social media deprived lately because, again, I'm stuck doing adult things, but I'd love to keep in touch with you guys and just see your thoughts about anything and everything. So, you know, are you guys chilling on the stress boat with me here? Like, are we in a similar state of not okay? Like, you know, do you know of a therapist that has like a mile-wide reclining, like, lounge chair thing that we can all just like lay down on and just like weep together, because this is driving me crazy. But it's good. It's good stuff. I'm loving it. So take care, y'all, and I'll be back before you know it.